Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Jessica Nicole. I'm a self-published author of YA fantasy romance novels, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing my book bingo board with you guys. So recently, I have decided that I am no longer going to do monthly TBRs. I just feel like they put too much pressure on me to read a certain amount in a short span of time, because 30 to 31 days is not a super like long amount of time, really. It sounds like it is, but it's really not when you're trying to read and enjoy what you're reading. And that's the main reason why I don't want to do monthly TBRs anymore, because I don't want to put that pressure on myself to just read quickly to get things done. I don't want reading to be like a chore that I have to get done. I want it to be something that's enjoyable and fun for me to do, and relaxing and entertaining the way reading is supposed to be. So instead of doing monthly TBRs, I'm going to do seasonal TBRs. So for every season, winter, spring, summer, fall, I'm going to just do a TBR of about 30 books that I am interested in reading in the 3 months in that season. So the next season that's coming up, we're already in spring, so I'm going to start this in for the summer season. So the next season coming up would be summer. So for June, July, August, I will come up with 30 books that I want to read, and that will be my next TBR video. I'm gonna still do like monthly reading wrap-ups, but yeah, so I'm just gonna do seasonal TBRs from now on. So you'll still get a monthly reading wrap-up for April and a monthly reading wrap-up for May, but starting in June, I will just be doing seasonal TBRs. And so that brings me to this video today, my book bingo. This is just a fun little way for me to kind of think of the books that I want on my summer TBR, and just a fun little challenge for the summer, because 30 books is a lot to think of to read, honestly. It seems like the list of books that I want to read is always super long, but like when you actually sit down and think of what are the 30 books I want to read over the next 3 months, it's kind of a challenge. So I figured this would help me a little bit. And also, I low-key hate summer. I know that so many people love summer, it's their favorite season and they're just summer everything, but I much prefer fall and winter, the colder months, to summer. Try living your whole life in the South. It is not an enjoyable situation to be sweating out of places you didn't even know you could sweat out of. I just know I'm not for summer. So hopefully, I'm constantly looking for ways to make summer more bearable for me. So hopefully this will just add a little fun to my summer. Okay, so I'm just going to go through my categories here and talk a little bit about each one and why I picked it. So starting over here under the R, I have a book in a series. I love series. They're my favorite thing to read, and I plan on reading a few series this summer. One of the series I do plan on reading is the Shatter Me series. I have heard so much about this series, and I'm recently got all the books in the mail, and I am so excited to read them. I feel like anything like superhero adjacent has to be in the summer. I just feel like superheroes have a summer vibe for me. So, love series, so that's why I put that there. A book with a trope I love. I have so many tropes that I have come to love and adore. I love the arranged marriage trope. I love the forced proximity trope. I love enemies to lovers. I think enemies to lovers is my favorite trope. I love star-crossed lovers. I love the chosen one trope if it's done right. I love found family, hero's journey. I just love so many tropes. And so I have a lot of tropes that I love, so it shouldn't be hard to find a book that fits this category. On the other hand, I have a book with a trope I don't like. I put this here to kind of challenge myself. I think it's really easy to just read books that you know you're going to love, but those hidden gems, those books that you really end up unexpectedly loving. I think that's more fun to kind of discover those books, especially when they're books you didn't expect to like as much as you do. So some tropes that I really do not like. I don't like friends to lovers. I just feel like it's a little boring, honestly, and it can be a little frustrating to read when the characters are being just deliberately annoying. It seems like, because I hate when they're like, it's obvious that you guys both have feelings for each other, but you want to refuse to see it for whatever reason, for the plot, I guess. But yeah, so I don't like that trope. And I also don't like the bully trope I've recently discovered. Unless it's done correctly. Like, I feel like The Cruel Prince had the bully trope going on, and I love that trilogy, so I don't know, take this with a grain of salt. But I just feel like, how can you have feelings for somebody who treats you like crap, I guess? I don't know. To each their own. Y'all let me know if there's something I'm missing about this, but I don't, it couldn't be me. It just couldn't be me, girl, okay? But yeah, so I struggle with that trope a little bit, but like I said, there's exceptions to every rule. So I'm gonna try a book that has a trope I don't like in it. I'm gonna try a standalone book. I feel like since I mostly read fantasy romance, it's rare to find like a fantasy standalone. But I'm gonna look for one that is a standalone, or maybe I'll read like a romance standalone or something. I don't know. But I want to read a standalone book, just, a one and done type of experience. I can read the book and move on, because I feel like when I start a series, I need to finish it, which is why I rarely read books that are longer than like a trilogy. I just don't want that level of commitment. But I'm gonna try a standalone. I have nothing against standalones, I just don't typically read them. Okay, I'm gonna go right under there. A book with a lot of hype. I just want to read one of these like super hyped up books and see if I like it as much as everybody else does. If you consume book content on social media in any way, shape, or form, it's like, a book gets a good review from a certain person and then everybody seems to have that same opinion. So I want to know if I have that same opinion on like a super popular book. On the other side of that, I want to read a book I've never heard of, just because I want to find a hidden gem. I've found many a hidden gem since I started back reading, and those are my favorite books. So I want to have that experience again. I want to read a book out of my genre comfort zone. My genre comfort zone is fantasy romance all day, every day. But I want to read something that's very much just out of my comfort zone. I'm leaning towards a thriller. The only thriller I've ever read was Verity, and I did actually enjoy that. So maybe another thriller. A book I've been wanting to read, my TBR list, my physical TBR, my Kindle Unlimited TBR, they're all bursting at the seams. So literally any book would go here, but I want to read like a book I've been kind of dying to read and putting off. A book that's a debut. I love discovering a new author. I love finding an author when it kind of feels like they're still finding their voice, and I love just watching their writing grow and change as they come into their own. So I have like a few authors right now that I'm following because I, found them right around the time they released like their first book or their second book or whatever. So I want to read a book that's a debut from a brand new author. I want to read a fantasy romance because that's my favorite trope to read. I put a contemporary romance on here because, as much as I say I can't stand contemporary romances because they're boring, not that I can't stand them, it's just like I just feel like they need something extra. And I've been able to find some contemporary romances that have that mystery, something extra for me, and really enjoyed quite a few of them. So I want to just keep doing that. One that comes to mind is By a Thread by Lucy Score. So if I could find another book like that, then, you know, maybe I'll have to stop saying that I don't like contemporary romances. A dark romance, because low-key, like, that's my second most read genre, next to fantasy romance. I'm kind of in my dark romance era, and I'm kind of loving it. A reread, I've read so many books that I have just loved and adored. I got into reading like really late, like last fall. Not into reading, got back into reading really late, like fall 2022. I think, yeah, that November is when I started reading back up, picking physical books back up anyways. I'd been reading audiobooks like before that, off and on. I'd read a little bit and stop and read a little bit and stop, but like consistently reading was like last November. Since then I've read pretty voraciously, and I have read so many great books, and I would love to just reread one that I really loved. It's going to be very hard to pick which one I want to reread, but so that's on there. A book in a world I already know. I feel like with fantasies, a lot of the work part of reading a fantasy, I think part of, you know, what turns people off is like you got to get the rules, the lay of the land down, kind of. You got to learn the world and the magic system, and it can be kind of intimidating for people. I love it, but I can admit that it's kind of, you know, a lot of brain work sometimes to do. But if I read a book in a world that I already know, that lore and magic system and world is already established for me, and so I can just hop in and just get to the plot and the characters and the themes and just, you know, enjoy the story for what it is. So I have a couple of options in mind for this because I've already read books in that world before. It's like one of those, they're both like those series where they're interconnected standalones, and they're both YA fantasy romance, which is like my favorite. I have a book that I first experienced as a movie. I have a book in mind for this, that I first experienced as a movie, and I want to see if the book is better than the movie, if the movie's better, because I've had experiences like that as well. I've had experiences where the book is better than the movie, or where the movie's better than the book. So I just want to, you know, read a book after I've watched the movie first. I've done that a couple of times before, and it's an interesting experience. So I think I'm going to do that again and maybe make a video out of it this time. And then last but not least, I have a mood read, because I love just mood reading. I love just finding something and saying, oh, that sounds interesting, picking it up and reading it just because I felt like it. So that's why that's there. It's kind of like the bingo free space. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put this up on my website, and I would love for you guys to do this along with me, or maybe you make your own. This was super fun to do. And I'm just going to I'm going to print this out for myself and just fill it out throughout the summer. I'll print like little like covers of the books out and tape them or glue them down over the spaces. And I'm going to do, I guess you could do 4 in a row, but I'm going to do a blackout for this. So I am super excited for this. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys in my next one. Bye.